This week, the debate over so-called religious liberty or freedom legislation in Indiana and Arkansas marked a new round of the culture wars, with liberals, LGBT activists, and the big business wing of the Republican Party pitted against evangelical conservatives. And this leaves Republican 2016 presidential hopefuls in a tricky situation, having to work out how to satisfy the evangelical base of the party without alienating more socially liberal general election swing voters.
This bill is bipartisan. It has received overwhelming support in both houses. It protects religious freedom.
After a backlash from LGBT activists and business leaders and sports leaders and the public, Republican governors in Indiana and Arkansas signed revised religious freedom legislation into law on Thursday. The new language in Indiana spells out that the law does not authorize a provider to refuse to offer or provide services on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity. Arkansas's new legislation mirrors a 1993 federal law signed by Bill Clinton and will make it harder for private individuals or businesses to cite religious freedom as a way to avoid providing services for same-sex weddings. Social conservatives call the compromises a cave.
It's the worst act of political malfeasance I've seen in my lifetime.
The hypocrisy from the corporate America is quite amazing to me.
It's only the latest skirmish in a battle between big business and social conservatives that's exposing fault lines within the Republican Party. It's also forcing potential 2016 presidential candidates to do a tricky two-step: avoid alienating evangelicals while also not appearing intolerant and scaring off general election voters. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush tried that two-step this week and tripped. On Monday, he praised Indiana Governor Mike Pence on conservative radio.
I think once the facts are established, people aren't going to see this as discriminatory at all.
But by Wednesday, Bush appeared to backpedal, telling donors in Silicon Valley, religious freedom is a core value of our country, but we shouldn't discriminate based on sexual orientation. So what the state of Indiana is going to end up doing is probably get to that place. Meanwhile, 2016 hopefuls eager to catch fire among social conservatives are seizing the opportunity to criticize their own party.
Fortune 500 is running shamelessly to endorse the radical gay marriage agenda over religious liberty. Sadly, a whole lot of Republican politicians are terrified.
We've seen a lot of Republicans run for the hills when the left comes out and starts to hammer.
It won't stop until there are no more churches.
All this is happening as Americans grow increasingly comfortable with same-sex marriage. The next fight may be in Louisiana, the 17th state to introduce religious freedom legislation this year.
But here's the point. The tipping point has been reached, and that tipping point is done, which is this is not an issue in which Republicans can win. They could a few years ago. They can't now. And even when you look at evangelical younger folks, they have moved on this issue, too. So, you know, if we took everybody over the age of 50 and just moved them out of this country, this wouldn't be an issue at all, even for younger evangelicals.
Oh, there's an idea.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
You know, Matt, I was just going to...
We've just lost everybody.
The Republican Party, though, better that they had having this debate now than in 2016, obviously.
Oh, that is the definition of the bright side.
Yes.
I mean, I agree with Amy. I think it was a very bad week for the Republican Party. I really do on a larger scale. I mean, I can see why for Governor Jindal it makes some sense to go the route he's going. He wants to curry favor with that evangelical base, and it's consistent with his political beliefs. But, you know, as Amy says, this corner has been turned. With the Republican Party, where it found itself this week is behind the curve of the society, behind the curve of history. And you saw that in the reaction of businesses who came out immediately because they understand where their markets have gone. And I think for any political party to find itself in that position is really problematic at this stage.